Yes, good afternoon to wherever you are getting our signal from. Welcome back to another episode of our educational Bantaba platform that always come on your way every Saturday by the hour towards 3 o'clock. I am Mr. Masanya, a TV presenter, a teacher, and then a journalist. Welcome to this episode, and then still I will also send out to our wonderful listeners, those at the receiving end, students from Maahad Senior Secondary School, student from Bottrop, senior student from St. Peter's, Charles Zhao, Mansakoli, Anna Mari, and then the list continue. And then today I'm joined by our able Aisha, but I'm sure as time goes on I will hand over the microphone to her to introduce herself. And then the topic of discussion will be given after the wonderful introduction of Aisha. Aisha, you are welcome to today's episode.
Good afternoon, wonderful listeners. My name is Aisha Conteh, a former student from Maahad Senior Secondary School. Well, it's a great pleasure being part of this amazing program.
Yes, thank you, Aisha Conteh. You are looking good today.
Oh,
and then, without wasting more time, I will love to share the theme of our today's discussion. Thus, how can the educational system be improved in the Gambia? And when we talk about the Gambia is in Africa, so it depends on the area we think we can discuss. But more particularly, let's stick to the Gambia. How do you think our educational system can improve in the Gambia? As a tutor, as an educationist, how do you think our education system can be improved in this country? Aisha, my first question is, what is education in your own definition?
Well, if I am to answer this question, it's a concept of acquiring knowledge, a skill that you can use to change the world.
Yes, the concept of what?
Acquiring knowledge.
Acquiring knowledge, you can say through experiment and so on and so forth. The concept of acquiring knowledge through experiment or so on and so forth. So that's what education is all about on her own definition. So the topic is so unique. How can education be improved in Africa? What is your take on that?
Well, first of all, education is the key to innovation. And without education, we can't actually have progress in our country. If we have to look for a proper education, it has to start within us as people. How do we go about to set a principle that gives us, a unique educational system in the country?
Yes, if we look into our education system in this country, there are a lot of pedagogies that need to be changed. And then compared to other countries like Ghana, India, and so on and so forth. Maybe if we travel to this part of the country, then that's the time we know that Gambia is really behind. Currently, I'm having a discussion with one of my friends, and then currently he's in Moscow. And then he was giving me complaints that some of the things we are introduced here, we have not done that in our university.
Yeah.
So, meaning our university is failing students. What is your take on that?
Well, it's because of the system of education we are having. To me, at some point when people ask me, I feel like maybe our educational system, it's actually done.
Yeah, because according to him, there are other areas which you know that they are key, and then he has never touched on those areas. And currently, he's facing a lot of difficulties.
You know how did the system all start from? Like from nursery level, what we should be learning from schools are not some of the things these people are giving us. You are not expecting a student to go to school, teach them about frog, lizard, amoeba, and the life goes on. If at all we actually want development in our educational sector, what we should do is to introduce skills that at the end of the day when students actually graduate, these are skills they are going to use to benefit themselves. And this is one of the biggest problems we are facing.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest problems we are facing. If you are just joining us, this is the Education Bantaba platform that always come on every Saturday by the hour 2 to 3 o'clock at Atlantic TV, the Gambia. And Aisha, still we have to continue we have to move fast to the next question. And then, in your own way, how do you think this is what we're going to do, this is what the ministry is going to do, or the government going to do, and at the same time the stakeholders going to do in order to improve our education system?
Well, first of all, if I am to answer this question, I'm going to start from the government because it's the highest rank. So the government is there to represent the people. And first of all, if there is going to be, I'm sorry for that interaction, if there is going to be any solution to this problem, I think it has to start from the government. Let the government introduce a system that is going to benefit its citizens. Because when we are having good government, and then the government will actually support teachers, and by bringing in qualified teachers that can go into schools and be monitoring students, give them the right food procedures that they are going to need to benefit themselves in the future.
Yes, if we compare our education system today and in those days, they will tell you, even you are in level form 2, you can able to read and write a good letter. But today you see students graduate from the university, even to write a sentence becomes difficult. Now, if you compare and contrast, what do you think is behind? What do you think we leave aside?
Well, it's all because what we need as people, that is something they are not giving us. They are teaching us something that in the future we might not even find it. Because to me, everyday life is like ABC and 1, 2, 3. It's the same repetition as we are living. If either you are not taking the side of 1, 2, 3, you must be on the area of ABC. In all this education sector, these are two things I actually try to imagine. Because if it's about English, these are some of the letters, A to Z you must find it. If it's about calculation, it's all about 1, 2, 3 and the life goes on. So we have to change the narrative. Let the government introduce a system that will actually benefit students in the near future.
Now, but in those days, today we are now into technology and other stuff. But even though people are not willing to read and write, and in those days where there is no technology, those people were striving hard to make sure that they can able to speak good English and write good English.
The fact we are having technology in our country, most of the people are very lazy. And someone told me this, Aisha, look, if many people are actually demanding for success, but people don't want to read. And how about if you are denying yourself to read and you are having a space in a book that talks about success, but you as a lazy person, you don't want to read?
Yes, what adjective are you going to use to describe these recent generation students?
Laziness.
They are so lazy.
Yeah.
So still, we are still on the Education Bantaba platform, and then Aisha is my guest today, and then I believe she is doing justice to my questions, and then Aisha will still continue. And then in those days, still we have to compare and contrast. And then in those days, our old people, they were using form grading system. And today, we are not using form, but we are using what we call a grading system. So whereby if a student fail, they continue moving up to grade 12. And today, there is a lot of failures of students. Cheating is very rampant in our schools, and still there is a problem that is going on in the Gambia. Most of the schools don't receive their worst results due to cheating and examination malpractice. Don't you think that this is also a setback to our education?
Yeah, it's actually a setback to our educational system because still, when we talk about education, we actually have to look into key things that are actually making our education to go back.
What are those key things?
I think bad governance.
Bad governance is part of it, and then second?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness, and then maybe the third?
Laziness.
Laziness of students, and then courage also.
Yeah, and also we're having something like economic development, and which could be one of a major factor that could bring back our educational system. Because as you look, when teachers start to teach, they are expecting the government to pay them at the end of the month. But if you are not having a salary, you feel too lazy because you have a family to settle. And you
now,
have,
don't you think that college also is a contributing factor?
yeah,
Leading the setback now education
sure, it's
by other people instead of going to the right way, using the back way
corruption.
into our Gambia college.
Yeah, because I think Gambia now is having 4 daily meals, guys. Like you have lunch, you have dinner, and you have breakfast. But corruption is something most people are feeling on.
Yes, and then when you take a look into our this year examination analysis, there is a lot of passes. We have obviously we have around 75% passes, both grade 9 and then the grade 12. But malpractice this year is so rampant.
Yeah.
And then according to the data, we have around 30% of students who have credits in their various subjects. They all cheat in one way or the other. And then we all know that. And then can you imagine a student who have credits in English, math, science, and math, science, agri, SE decided to fail arts and craft. And where you know arts and craft is the easiest subject, but he failed arts and craft, and then he have credit or excellent in other various subjects like mathematics, English, agri, and other stuff. What is your take on that?
Well, if something like this is happening, I think this will go back onto the marking skills. How do people mark? Sometimes they give most of our papers to people that are not qualified.
Who are not qualified?
Yeah, to mark. To my own suggestion, that is how I see it. It's my own opinion, the way I see things. And that is the way I say
so
it.
mean work should be blamed for that? That means giving to unqualified teachers to mark examinations papers?
Well, if I have to say why I should be blamed for that, they might actually think like I'm laying an allegation on them. So I say on my own perspective.
Yes, in your own perspective, yes. You are speaking on your own behalf.
Yeah.
But I think work also should be asked questions.
Yeah, and why is it that...
Because papers do leak before the actual time. Yes, we have been bouncing and then having great evidence. Papers, examination questions are shared on WhatsApp platform before the actual day of the exams or that particular paper. Don't you come across as a learner?
Well, I wouldn't say much about that, because if I have to, because to my own case, if you are having qualified teachers that knows on how to work, yeah, I think you stand a better chance to win as a student.
Yeah,
so
and then I'll bring also this. Schools are competing. Every school wants a name, but working towards that name becomes a problem. Others will tend to cheat, others will tend to strive. And these there are a lot of schools that have name based on examination malpractice. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree, 100%. But as you can look how the world is really working, because as I said in the beginning, corruption is one of the key factors that is actually making our development to go back.
And then these people who we see with series of 9 credits, series of A's and other stuffs, if they are pushed to the tertiary institution like the University of the Gambia, Gambia College, they find it very difficult
to compete. Yeah.
Don't you think that this is also another setback to our education?
Yeah, it's a setback to our education, it's a setback to the whole country.
It's a setback to the whole country. So what do you think we should do as ministry, those in the tertiary institution, the University of the Gambia, Gambia College, GTTI, MBI, and then those in the senior secondary sector, the teachers, the stakeholders? What do you think we should do to remedy or to stop?
Is what we can do to stop this problem.
Because
the solution is in the hands of the government.
Only the government?
The solution
Who are the government?
We are the government. Because if I say we are the government, I and you, we represent the government.
We represent the government.
And in most cases, if we talk about there are problems, people tend to blame the government. But we should rather blame ourselves. Because in that governmental positions, we are the ones occupying it. And if there are problems that needed to be solved, we can't be sitting folding our hands, blaming the government. When it comes to price control, blaming the government. Look, in our own self, we are the ones occupying those positions. We should have mercy on ourselves to say, we belong to this country and we can develop it if we stay away from corruption.
Let's move to our science area. It becomes a problem. And then if you compare Gambian science field and that of Ghana or India or Moscow, and then some of our science students who have A's in science areas, sometimes if you give them a mere what to repair becomes a problem. Where is the problem lies? Where do you think the problem lies?
The problem is that they are teaching us things we are not seeing, and they are teaching us things that we don't have skills to work. Okay, if you are giving someone something, make sure you give them a reasonable thing. Make sure you give that individual something at the end of the day to say, hey, look, I am learning this, and this is what it means. But the thing is that all we do, right, read, no experiment. In most of the schools, like you see students are learning about science, but they don't even know what an experiment is.
Yes, let's come. Like for example, any senior secondary school you go to, you must find a science field there. But the thing is, are they having well-equipped standard laboratory?
No.
Well-equipped lab?
No.
Do they have the materials?
No.
No. How are they teaching students?
Well, this is a setback to the educational system.
Because I can understand, I have been going around to schools, and then those schools, they say that they are having science field. And then they want students to come and then study science field. I went around, but it's only one school in West Coast which have maybe some apparatus, just a lab. I would say just a lab because it's not fully equipped, and so on and so forth. But the rest, they only have 2 microscopes, and then that's the only equipment they have.
That is a history.
So, what are you teaching?
Nothing, eventually.
So meaning
You are not giving us any benefits, there's nothing, and at the end of the day, we expect our country to be developed. We need to go back and to actually look within ourselves. What are we doing for ourselves?
this is a problem which the Gambia is facing currently because there are a lot of pedagogies, there are a lot of loopholes which you and I need to sit and then we aggregate our ideas together. We come with a very good aggregate to make sure that anything that is affecting our education system can be remedied and then we bring a better one. Aisha, we move into what do we think we can do as stakeholders. You and I were stakeholders to see to it that at least we have a standard education in this country. First, let's discuss on technology side, because anywhere you go to, if the world is advancing and technology is overtaking, don't you think that if you use technology wisely, we can able to improve our education system?
Yeah, that's true. If we use technology, we can actually improve our educational system.
But don't you think that technology is also doing another harm to our education, to our learners, the students I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you go into a class currently, I am a teacher, yes, I am a teacher, I will say it. Sometimes those days I was teaching, you know what happened? A student was busy on a mobile phone, and it is a girl. I only asked the student, please park your phone inside your bag. I just turned to the board, start writing science, and the science teacher. You know, what did I hear?
Oh my God. That's bad.
It's like someone just bring maybe pin and started spinning
Your body.
my body. I was so boiled and hot. I have to meet the students. You know what I did? Oh, so sad, honestly. So mobile phone is here to help the students. It's where you can get access to information on the area you are studying. but these phones, it also giving a setback to our education.
Yeah.
What is your take?
Because as I always tell people, everything starts as the root. The root, if the root, the foundation is not strong, anything we do, we don't have any benefit from it.
Yes, Gambia, we need to advance in technology to see to it that at least we digitalize our education, where we can bring modern technology. Like we have a TV set in our laboratory. If we talk about living organisms, make sure you bring different living organisms, whether there are plants. If you want to study plants area, yes, let it be bring on a screen so that the learners can see it on their naked eye. But Gambia, we should far move only concentrating on our textbooks. And we can remember, these textbooks are not recommended worldwide. Maybe they are recommended by the ministry, but it only stops in the Gambia. Outside, they never used. So what if we digitalize our education? I'm sure all these hanky-panky in our education systems will be surely eradicated.
Yeah.
Can you defend my points?
I can defend your point on this concept, because as you look, all these technology instruments that we're using, the TVs, the cameras, and the life goes on. Can we make one in our country? No, because we
Yes,
don't.
where the question lies. What is the essence of our science field?
Nothing. I don't see no benefit in it. If we want progress, we must actually work for it.
I think GTTI, where you train schools, should be introduced in our lower basic sector, because that's where everything starts. That's where you have a correct foundation. That's where guidance and career choosing should start. Now, if we introduce skills in our lower basic sector, you'll see the learner will start learning those skills from the lower basic, move to the upper basic, down to the senior secondary school, then move to the tertiary institution. But you see in our lower basic sector to upper basic sector, we will not learn skills, but after after senior secondary sector, then that's the time, okay, I'll go to GTTI and then start to learn carpentry. Don't you think that is a time waste?
You know the reason for that?
No, help me.
It's because Gambia, or maybe Africa, is a dumping area. Tell us believe, if we came to understand the way they are making their materials, we might overthrow them. And because we are not people that are reasonable, we tend to follow the footsteps. That is more reason, as the starting I said, they introduce the skills of teaching students with frog, lizards, amoeba, and the life goes on spider jar.
Yes, we talked about that.
Rather than teaching us with the skill.
No, but here we can blame the Western, we can blame our own self. Because establishing GTTI, to me, establishing skills in tertiary institution, to me, is a waste of time. Skills should be introduced in our lower basic sectors.
That's true.
Start from grade 1, down to grade 6, grade 7 to grade 9, grade 10 to 12. Then a GTTI is just only to summarize and then.
That's really true.
If we do that, one, you already set up the career of the learner, and the learner already know what he or she will become after completing grade 12. But you see, someone in the education process won't know whether I'm good in carpentry, I'm good in masonry, I'm good in news reading, I'm good in this area, and so on and so forth. Because guidance is not taking place. Counseling is not taking place. Today, if you move into schools, it's only few schools, and most of these schools are private schools. If you move into a government school, try to make an assess. Ask them, do you have a guidance and committee, guidance and counseling team? They will tell you no. Sometimes, in fact, they will tell you no, they will say yes.
Most of the time they are not.
They are not doing it.
And even if they are doing it, it's not effective.
It's not effective.
Yeah.
It's not effective.
And most of the time, some of us, as we are graduating, we tend to ask ourselves, am I going to do in future? Because you're not guided.
This is what I'm saying. Skills should start in your primary level. If you move into the Western world, if you move into other part of Africa, they started studying the career of the child at tender age.
Yeah.
Where they open space, they open environment for the child. So through that, those are the children learners you see. After completing, they venture themselves into their own business.
Feel they want to do.
Anywhere in the country, people should not seek for job, but the job should be seeking for people.
Yeah.
Yes. But in the Gambia here, people seek for job. If you move into other part of the world, the job is seeking people.
You know the thing.
That's the differences we are having in the Gambia and other part of the world. The job should be seeking for us, not we seek for job. If our education system is not put in place, Gambia will keep on seeking the job. And remember, every year the grade 12 are graduating. Every year college is graduating student. GTTI is graduating student. MDI is graduating student. UTG, University of the Gambia, is graduating students. So in a year, how many students graduate?
A lot.
And all those students, they all want to see themselves in the working field. And then we have limited job opportunities in this country. Sometimes you have to go through the back way. And then this is why most of our youths, those who recently graduate from Gambia College University, they venture into a back way because they lose hope. It's due to our education system. My question is, what do you think we should do as a nation to improve technology in our education system, to introduce skills in our education system, start from primary to the senior secondary school?
Well, before I answer your question, I think we should not learn to acquire paper, like a degree, but we should learn to acquire skill. But what can we do to solve this problem? Let us introduce a system that can take the people, the younger generation, at the end of the day, when they grow up to go into future challenges, they'll be able to tackle the situation. But let us not learn just because of the concept of acquiring a paper or a degree. We are not doing justice to ourselves.
Yeah, we are not doing justice ourselves. You see, people just learn to acquire papers or degrees, as you said, because someone with 9 A's in science field, even your mobile phone gets damaged, he or she can't repair it, can't discover anything. Even a mere watch, he or she can't. And then if we move into maybe in China, those in the primary schools are the one helping to make, that's why we do say Chinese made. Yes, we see students making their own telephones. Watch.
China made.
Yeah, so we keep on.
So let us introduce something that we can say Gambia made.
Yes, we move on because we only have 3 minutes to go. Okay. So I always have this slogan, and even in the education Bantaba, we always say Gambia first and always first. In whatever we have to do, take the Gambia first and always put the Gambia first. What is your take on that slogan?
Put the Gambia first.
Yes, and always Gambia first, always first.
Well, I think in this concept, my own understanding, we should work to develop the Gambia, not our personal stuff. Because when the Gambia is developed, as people, the reward is coming back to us.
Yes, and then what word do you have, what advice do you have to those at the receiving end, especially learners, the students, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Maahad, Ministry of Higher Education, and then what advice do you have to make sure that at least our education system is put in the right direction?
Okay, wonderful listeners, before we go, I would love to give a call to action to each and every one of you. Let us work together and then introduces skill that can develop the country, and we can actually empower each other. As the government is the head of the state, so also go back and see the system they are introducing to the citizens, because when that is done, I think the success of progress will actually start.
Yes, you are from Maahad, and then you were a student leader in that school, and then maybe others will see you, your juniors will see you as a role model, and then some of them will be lucky to see you live on Atlantic TV.
Yeah.
What word do you have to the school, the admin, the students, the entire Maahad family?
Well, if I am to give a honest advice to you, I am someone who doesn't give up on her dream, because no matter how the obstacle will be, at some point I fail, but I love to actually correct my mistake. Let us be people that are always looking to be hardworking, no matter how the challenge could be. Yeah, you must always have a passion, and if you have a passion, in the beginning you fail, but then know that you have something to settle for the people. Hard work needs commitment, and with commitment, there's a hope for success.
Yes, we will draw our curtains here because a TV program is all about time, and then I'm already signaled that my time is already exhausted.
Yeah.
Still, I will acknowledge those people at the receiving end, and then my students, I'll never forget you. Those people following the education Bantaba, keep following the Bantaba. It's only the Bantaba that can bring the solution to our problem in the education. Still, I thank the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for giving us the quality teaching and learning in our various schools. I also thank MRC Holland Foundation for the wonderful job it's doing to see to it that our education standard is put education standard is put to the lines. So anyway, still to give thanks to the administration of Atlantic Online TV for creating this noble platform where students, teachers, educationists, stakeholders, even the NGOs, the parents can come and they will discuss our education system. Still, the education tour keep continuing. Yesterday we were at Mansakole, we were at Anamari, we were at Glory Hair Computer Design Center, and then the list will continue going on. We'll make sure that we visit any Tom and Harriet school in this nation. Thank you very much, our cameraman Edu, and then the technical engineer, who is Mr. Sekou Suare, our Martin Bai, our #1 presenter, and then she was the one doing all the photo shooting and the light. Thank you so very much, the Atlantic family. I am your host, Mr. Masanya, assisted by Mr. Babukari Buso. Thank you till I have you in our next balloting.
Thank you.
Atlantic Media Company. Follow us on Facebook at Atlantic TV The Gambia, on YouTube at Atlantic TV Gambia, on TikTok atlantic.tv.gambia. Follow our music platform on Facebook at Atlantic TV Music Platform Entertainment. Share your opinion with us and send it through email atlanticstudio1@gmail.com.